What's up, guys? So I wanted to make a quick vlog. I haven't made a video in a good while about my cars, the S2000 and the Datsun. I have been working on the hood. That's more of a DIY type thing. I kind of want to start doing a couple of just regular videos of me just doing things with the cars, because that's what I do it almost every day. I do just random things with the cars and I don't really record it, but I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that because there is a lot of work to do. I want to go ahead and show you what I need to do today and see if I can get a closer view of this horribleness that's here. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, look at that rust. So that is on the suspension right there. The water was dripping there. I made a video about it, how my S2000 had a leak right up here. An ugly leak right up here. I found the leak and then I had a weld down here, not the perfect weld. I need to grind it out or take it out. Ugly welds, but it does the job because it rusted this metal part out. Let me see if you can get a look right there. You see that? It like connects the two metals, so it just rusted it out, and I just welded as best I could because there's just no way to get in there with this space. I did take out this bottom panel, which I'm making a video about. I do have the panel. I was just waiting because I also need to fix this bumper. This bumper is super off. Look at that. Look at this. This bumper is just broken. Like it here's broken. It has Bondo everywhere. It has this side is missing almost the whole top part here. So I'm replacing this whole thing and it's totally cracked right here. There's like a little patch in there. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that patch. Horrible patch. So I am replacing this whole bumper, and the tail lights are not perfect, and I definitely want to change these out as well. Look at the gap. Ugly gap. This is what it should look like, pretty much. So that's also a thing I need to do. So this whole back area needs to be fixed pretty much. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the suspension there, and I'm gonna go ahead and use, I have the sand blaster, but I do not want to use the sand blaster in there. I could cover it all, but it might still get in the crevice in there. But I did buy this navel jelly a while back. I used it for the Datsun. It did work. It's a rust dissolver. It just takes a while because it is jelly, and you gotta just pretty much just like wipe it on there somehow with like a brush or something. So I'm gonna try this first. If not, I'm just gonna grind in there somehow, some way, just to get most of that rust out, because it's that bad. I did want to remove the gas tank filler right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that and get it out, because I do not want that in the way, and I don't want to like ruin it in any way. So yeah, I'm gonna start on that. Well, after 5 hours of pure hitting, grinding, drilling, and cutting, and doing everything that I could, it finally came out. And all the tools, the one tool I bought did not work, and then so I just chiseled my way through it, and then drilling, chisel, drill, finally came out with this situation right here. As you can't really see much, but it came out the hole on the back end right here. This one right here is a little bit wider, so it happens. This one came out fine, but look at that rust. Luckily it did not rust through anywhere, so I'm just gonna vacuum and start the jelly on there and see what if I don't have to sandblast up in there. I don't really want to sandblast, but let me show you what it should look like and what it's not looking like. So this is what it's supposed to look like. This one's a little bit rusted, but nothing, no water has ever gone in here. This just probably humid or something, a little bit of you know, gets in here. Now this thing did not help, was in the way. So imagine, I still had that whole tube, which I was not gonna take off. Thank God I did. And then this was super annoying, but we made it work. Let me see if I can get some better light in there. So look at that. Look at that. Completely rusted. I can get a little better focus. The top hat is okay. Even though these springs are like 100 or 200 bucks, I will try and just take off these bolts, which seems like you can with a press or something, and move on from there. As you can see, I just took it off from up here, which thank God I did as well. I also took it off from way up top, because if not, that also would have been in the way. So good thing I took everything out, because if not, it would have just been in the way. The precision of how this is and where it's at is super uncomfortable. I don't think it is like most cars. This is probably the worst type of way to put your suspension in there, so just make sure it doesn't get rusted. So I just did the measurements with a caliper, and as you can see, I did every single measurement from the new and the old, and everything's fairly close. Of course, just the length is probably the biggest and most obvious thing that you can see. The pitch in the back is the same 16, so instead I would just have to cut it from the width of it, and it's 5.1. I gotta bring it down to 3, and then from 12 to 11, and the thread from 11 to 10. Not a big difference. I think there's a little bit more. I want to say 11 point some, but the thread is going to change, and the thread, you know, size and might change from metric, so it's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start grinding down and make sure I get down to these measurements, and then we'll see what thread I'm going to do for it once I get to these measurements. I think I'm just going to cut down on the thread itself to see if it brings it down that little bit that I need. And then maybe from there I can just start the threads. I don't have to really cut down that much. This will not fit in the top hat, so that as well has to go down, how much? 1 millimeter. So this has to go down 1 millimeter with this down to 1 millimeter as well. So everything's just off by 1. Except of course the this thickness, I think. Yeah, the thickness of this. So this has to go down significantly, so I can, let me show you. So that's the only thing that needs to go down, and look how, like, just how much thicker it is. So that's the biggest difference there. But this, same size, so that will fit perfectly fine. I'm thinking that I'm not gonna maybe cut this down, keep it kind of thick, and just, you know, so it can hold a little bit more strength. But if it is making contact, then I'll bring it down, and that should be fairly easy to do. So let me go ahead and start grinding down and see how far we can get to the measurements that I wrote down. There's the first one, and then I'll just cut it a little bit and then put the thread. And as you can see, this is sticking out a little bit. I'm probably gonna have to grind that down, which I knew was gonna happen. But I want to see where the spring sits. If it sits on there where it doesn't bother at all, then I'll leave it like that, just so I don't have to cut any more material and not damage this bottom hat so much. I'm gonna go ahead and put you closer. It's been the 20 minutes. Okay. So it's cleared up a little bit better on some other areas, but as you can see, that top area is still super rusted. I'm probably just gonna have to go in there with a with something and just brush it off. But for the most part, all around it is pretty clean, which I'm happy with. So I'm just gonna clean that area. So I don't have a heat gun to come in here and kind of just finish evaporating that rest of the water. So I just got this blow dryer, but look how clean that looks. Way better. Still has a little bit of rust, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. I cannot, you know, do any more. I don't have a wire brush that's good enough to get in there and clean that up. You know, I did have one, I just don't know what happened to it. I haven't really been able to see this side down here. I can't really see it, but I'm gonna let it dry for another 10 minutes or so and then go ahead and spray paint it. And that'll be the end of this. And I'm just gonna have to go get those bolts that I never went to go get. But everything looks very good, in my opinion. It can't get any better than this. The spot is so uncomfortable. I can sandblast it. That'd be great to do, but the whole point was to avoid sandblasting. I did not want to do that with this particular car. All the interior is in there, so it would be just very dumb of me to get in there and start, you know, throwing all that stuff in there. So that's that. I'm done with that, and it's gonna continue just cleaning the rest of the stuff and see if I can find some wire brush to get the rest of that. But if not, I'm happy with that outcome. So I just finished. Look at that. Look at the difference. I painted it. You can still see the rust marks that it just left from eating up all that metal, but it's still thick enough that doesn't really hurt it. Everything pretty much worked out. I had to put some washers just because the holes did get a little bit damaged, just, you know, safety wise. I will drive this a couple times around just to make sure that nothing gets loosened and everything is good to go. If not, I'll just end up buying the studs online, the original ones. But this should work perfectly fine. I just threaded everything and made everything look as best as I could to original. And hopefully I don't have this problem anymore. I will try to come up with something, some sort of way to stop the rust if anything does come down, any type of water or any type of problems happen. But I think we should be good. I don't think I should have that problem anymore, especially since the car is going to be indoors. So as you can see, they both look about the same now. So now I just got to put everything back together and hopefully nothing messes up. That's going to be the video. And that's about it. That's all I got for today. Just the suspension. Thankfully it's done. Now I can move on to the next part, which is the rocker panel. So please like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions about the process of what I did here. And yeah, guys, later.